All right, let's talk Dallas Cowboys. Of course, over the past couple of days, we had the big schedule release. It sucked up everything with social media and a lot of news. And it's a kind of a little fun thing if you're into that kind of deal. But lost in that hustle and bustle, the Cowboys recently made an acquisition, kind of an under the radar move. Now, this isn't going to set the world on fire, but I think this has a chance to be a really good value for Dallas. We'll get into this story in just 1 second. But first, I'm Nick. That's Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, this time of year, obviously, we're past rookie mini camps. We've seen the draft come and go. We've seen 99.9% of the undrafted free agent cycle come and go. And most of the time, the teams are who the teams are going to be at this point. But there are still some deals being made. There are still some additions being made to rosters. And the Cowboys recently made such an addition that it didn't garner a lot of attention, but I think it's a really smart move, especially when you think more long term. Let's pull up this tweet here, the post on X, whatever you want to call it, courtesy of Marcus Mosher, and he highlights this report. The Cowboys signed Syracuse linebacker slash strong safety Justin Barron as an undrafted free agent. Pretty decent athlete via @MathBomb. You can see his relative athletic score there across the board, right? A lot of pretty good measurables. Nothing outstanding, but good data. Like, NFL kind of numbers right there. Nothing absolutely elite. Obviously, would have been drafted if it was, but really solid stuff. But let's go into his actual performance at Syracuse, because here's where it gets interesting. Let's pull this up here. And this is the last 3 seasons, his PFF grades based on a Syracuse performance. And you can see overall, there's really nothing too special there. In 2023, he was really good. But in 2022 and 2024, he was just solid. His coverage grade is kind of volatile, right? In the 60s, right? 64.1 last year. Don't really like that at all. But you have to put that number aside for a second. When you get an undrafted free agent safety like this, safety slash linebacker, you're not adding him into the fold to potentially be a cover two safety. You're looking at him for a specific purpose. And to me, this is CJ Goodwin, the special teams ace. This is his replacement. Because if you look at his run defense grade, box safety kind of thing, being a playmaker, flying around, being willing to throw your helmet into piles and stuff like that. Look at that in the 70s, all 3 years. That's really hard to do if you're a safety, really hard to do if you're kind of a coverage linebacker, nickel linebacker, things like that, because you're put in tough situations against the run. And Barron right here did a phenomenal job all 3 years, incredibly consistent. He also was a good pass rusher as well. Limited amount of reps, of course. You can see over the 3 years combined, I think it adds up, if I do quick mental math right there, somewhere around maybe about 100, a little over 100. So not a lot of reps, of course, doing just the odd blitz every now and then, but very efficient, good grades. Again, it speaks to the point he's not afraid to fly around. He's a playmaker. He had multiple sacks in his collegiate career. This is a guy who's not going to come in and compete to get playing time or make the roster as a safety. Maybe eventually he'll develop into one. Who knows? This is a guy that you bring in to be a special teams ace. And CJ Goodwin fit this role so many years ago, right? He was a safety, a defensive back, really, I think a corner when he first started, former wide receiver, actually, when he first started his collegiate career way back in the day. But he basically just stuck around the NFL long enough, and he found a niche as a special teams guy and got really good at it and became a valuable Cowboys player because of that. Now he's getting a little up there in age. The injuries are rearing its ugly head. Special teams ace is an important, even if it's an under radar of the position. The Cowboys, once again, making a smart move here. They identified an opportunity to bring in CJ Goodwin's potential replacement, a guy who's literally built to be just like him, a special teams ace, a playmaker on that side of the football. I think the Cowboys made an under the radar steal here. Again, is this a guy who's going to get 5 picks and be Pro Bowl safety? Probably not, right? But is this a guy that can become a special teams just baller for many years to come? Absolutely, because if you look at how he played in college, it aligns perfectly with that style of play in the NFL, being a special teams guy. I think the Cowboys got a real special, again, just on that side of the football, special teams, right? The kicking game, I think got a special player here in Barron. All right, Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. But first, Cowboys fans, in the comment section below, like I mentioned in the opening there, the schedule release has occurred. So now I'll ask you guys, what's the one matchup you're looking forward to this upcoming season more than any other, right? Is it kickoff, right? You got Philly, right? That's got to be fun. Christmas Day, right? You got Washington, Thanksgiving, Kansas City. My God, there's so many crazy matchups down the stretch. The schedule gets brutal. But through all that, which one is the one matchup you're looking forward to more than any other? Let us know in the comment section below. But Miles, over to you now. What do you think of this kind of under the radar move here by Dallas?
Yeah, Nick, I think we've been hitting this home all season long, all off season long, ever since they've made the changes to this coaching staff. Smart, savvy moves. Things that aren't splashy. We're talking about a safety that could be a great special teams player. Probably not going to notice it on the field. Maybe if you love a special teams aficionado, a lot of people go to the bathroom during that part of the game. But if you love special teams and you love to watch it, maybe he stands out to you there. But this is a guy that puts more W's in the win column when those kind of plays happen. Special teams make things happen, get stops, pin people deep, make the tackle, block a kick, all kinds of stuff like that. If you can bring in guys like that, and we have a guy like here and Justin Barron, bring in a guy like that that can come in and make things happen on that side of the ball, because it's a three-phase game. People forget that. Everyone always talks about offense and defense. Special teams is just as important, and Cowboys fans know you've got a great kicker. So I think, that is very, very important. You don't want to waste that as well. Special teams, very crucial here. So getting a guy like Barron fits that mold. Not splashy. It's not sexy. When you talk about an undrafted free agent who's going to come be a special teams player, a special teams ace at that for the Cowboys, a lot of people are like, whatever. But it's important. It matters. It is a big deal, and it really will affect the outcomes of games this year if this guy can make it on the field and make an impact. Because a lot of people remember the Patriots, for years, Matthew Slater coming out on the field, doing a lot of great stuff. That guy, he earned himself a roster spot on that team just for what he was able to do as a special teamer. It's a guy that honestly probably should be in the Hall of Fame for the way that he played special teams. He was bar none one of the best players ever to do it. And I think a lot of people don't really see him as that, don't really think about the way that he did it at such a high level as he did. But that was a guy that year in, year out, made the roster, not because he was good at anything else really on the field, because he was good at special teams. And if you can have a player that can make that kind of role, a guy like Barron that can slot in and be an important special teams asset to your team, I think it's really important. I think it's going to help this Cowboys team out going down the stretch.